Good morning, crafty friends. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to my craft room. My name is Daryl Walter of Pickled Peppers Creative Cafe at pickledpepperscreative.com. Today is Saturday, March 29th, 2025. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I like to come on Saturdays mostly. That's my goal, to share something crafty and creative with you. So that is why we're here this morning. Good morning. Come on into my craft room. Come on in. How are you? Hopefully things are going well. You're having a good week. You're feeling the creative mojo, and I'm hoping that I can propel you a little more forward if that's the case, or inspire you if you're not feeling crafty this morning. So welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? I missed you guys last week. Last Saturday was my birthday. And so I spent the day getting spoiled by my family. I had a really good birthday and lots of fun and good eats. So I took the day off, but here I am, a new week, ready to create with you. Okay, so welcome, welcome. Come on in. When you come in, say hi. Let me know that you're here, where you're watching from. And chat with me. I love chatting with you while we're creating. So if you have questions or comments, certainly leave them below, and I'll definitely get around to them. Today may be a little bit later than normal, but I still will chat with you if I don't for some reason see your comments while we're creating. All right. So I don't see anyone yet, but I'm going to assume that we're live and things are okay. I can see myself on my other devices. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be using today. And actually, the star of the show again today is going to be designer series paper. It is what inspired me to create the project that we're making today. So let's get right into it. I have 2 pieces of cardstock. I have a regular basic white, and then I have gorgeous grape. We haven't seen it for a while, but it called my name, so here we are. And then in terms of designer series paper, this is still available. I was pleasantly surprised to discover it's, let's see, Painted Lavender. I'm pretty sure this is called Painted Lavender. I will confirm it. I'll put it in the description when I confirm it, but I'm pretty sure it's the Painted Lavender designer series paper that we're going to be using today. And we're going to use this pattern. And you know, I have a whole pack of it. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to break into, oh, I've already broken into it so that you can see. If you haven't seen this, this is, I believe, in the annual catalog. So you'll be able to still pick it up as long as it's in stock. And if you haven't seen it before, this is how gorgeous it is. Aren't those purples lovely? There's some Blackberry Bliss in there. Of course, there's Pretty Peacock. I love this paper. I think I've used, maybe this is the 3rd stack, and I might grab another one. Yes, Perennial Lavender. That's what it's called, Perennial Lavender. Let's put it a little close so you can see. See that? Perennial Lavender 12 by 12. So, that's the star of the show today. I am also going to be using the Countryside Corners dies, which are these ones. I've already pulled out the ones that we're going to be using today. We're going to use 3 of them. And, but they're, I don't know, it's a hexagon with long sides. So we're going to be using those today. And in terms of a stamp set, I am just grabbing whatever has a birthday sentiment. And actually, I'm going to be using the penciled pear. I want to nab that it's your day. So my plans for today's card is to use it for a birthday. So when I'm card making in my craft room, I try to create cards and projects that I'm actually going to need. And then I'm trying to get better at sending birthday cards and thank you cards. I do need to do a little bit better in that department. So that's been my focus in terms of theme. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll clean the desktop a little bit. And we have a little bit of cutting to do. And then we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. And then we'll do some assembly, and we'll get to some embellishing, and then we'll be done with our project. So are you ready? Okay. I don't have any announcements today either. If you're watching on either Facebook or YouTube, make sure to give me a thumbs up. That would be amazing. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll see me when I post projects that I create with you. Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing. The first thing we're going to do is, let's see, I'm a little crowded on my workspace here. We're going to cut our designer series paper, and I'm going to cut a 3.5 inch piece off, and we're going to need to run this through our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so we have to make sure that it fits. And then it also has to be able to accommodate, oh, something's happening here. Let's see. Oh, it's a score. It has to be able to accommodate the die. So we'll put the largest piece to the side, and then we're going to cut this at, 5 1/4 should be good. And I'll cut another for good measure. I really want those flowers. And if you notice, the top of the designer series paper, it kind of thins out. So the thickest part of the flowers are at the bottom. So I think I'm going to use this piece. And I'll put the others aside. And then I'll bring in the Gorgeous Grape. So we need a piece of Gorgeous Grape that is 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it at 5 1/4. So a regular piece of cardstock is 8.5 by 11. Normally I like to cut it in half, which let's go ahead and do that, because then the other half is the perfect size for an A2 card. And that's why I do that. And then I'll go ahead and cut this down to 4 1/4. That way I have a perfect card mat. So that 5 1/4 by 4 will make a perfect mat. I'll put that aside for a moment. We are going to use it. But for now, I'm going to cut this piece to 3 1/2 because we're going to need to put it through our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And it doesn't matter the length. So we have these two pieces. So I'm going to switch my basic white to thick basic white because we need it for a card base. Let's see, that's the wrong one. Let's grab thick basic white. Here we go. And I'm going to score this at 4 1/4, going the long way. So the 8 1/2 inch side is at the top of the Stampin' Trimmer. And then I'll turn it around and cut it at 5 1/2. So we'll have 2 A2 card bases ready to go. I'll put the other one aside. All right, and then we do need a scrap of white. So I'm gonna cut, let's see, let's go ahead and cut this at 4 1/4. Put that aside. And then I'm gonna cut 2 pieces. I'm gonna cut one at 3/4 of an inch from the 4 1/2 inch side. So the long side of the cardstock is at the top of the trimmer. And this is gonna be for the sentiment. And I'm not sure how fat the sentiment is. I think this 3/4 of an inch piece will be enough, but I'm gonna cut one at 1 inch as well for good measure. So remember, it's 4 1/4 because we cut our cardstock down to 4 1/4. And then I have 2 pieces for the sentiment. I'm only going to need one. The other is for good measure. This is 3/4 of an inch and this is a full inch. Okay, and then we'll put that aside. We need a coordinating but contrasting piece of designer series paper. So let's go back to the first stack that's mostly gone. And let's see. Ooh, yeah, let's do this one. You see that? Gorgeous, gorgeous. We're going to cut this down to 3 3/4 of an inch. Oh, by the way, we do need more. Let's bring in the first piece. Okay, so we're going to make 2. We need a larger mat, and then we need the smaller mat that we're going to cut now. So we're going to cut this to 1 by 3 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take it down to 3/4 of an inch. Put that aside, and then 1 inch. So we need just this little piece. We'll save the rest because it can make another card. And then finally we need a designer series paper mat that is 5 by 3 3/4. I thought I might be able to get it out of that piece, but we're going to use the reverse side of the pattern that we are going to cut die cuts with. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 3 3/4 of an inch. We have a large piece there that we'll put aside, and then we need this to be 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, we have a lot of cutting today. So the final piece that we need, we're going to grab the Gorgeous Grape, and we need it to be 5 1/4 by 4. So we'll just cut that down to 5 1/4 by 4. All right, and then when we're done with this, I'll go over all of the components we have. A lot of layers to this little card. Okay, I think we're done with the trimmer. I won't make any guarantees. I won't promise. I always say that I'm done, and then I find out along the way, not so much. Okay. I am missing a bone folder today. That's perplexing. All right, so we have a piece of Gorgeous Grape that is 5 1/4 by 4. We have a piece of designer series paper that is 3 3/4 by 5. We have a piece of designer series paper that is, we're basically concerned about the width here. So it's 3 1/2. We're going to do some die cutting with that. We have a 3 3/4 inch by 1 inch mat. So we're going to put this here somewhere on our card front. And then we have, once again, another piece of gorgeous grape for die cutting. So it is 3 1/2 inches. It's roughly 5 1/4. And then I cut 2 mats for the sentiment, one at 3 3/4, or I'm sorry, 3/4 of an inch, and one at 1 inch, just because I'm not sure. And we'll cut that down after we stamp on our sentiment. So let's go ahead and do some die cutting. I take my scraps and put them aside because we are going to use those later. And I'm going to bring in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Put our card base aside and our extra pieces. Actually, I'm going to tuck them right on the inside there. And let's bring in our die cutter. Oh, I'm right-handed, so let's turn it. This is a cute and handy little machine that travels really well. You see my hands? So it's very compact and very cute. All right, so if you've crafted with me before, we've talked about these are the 3 layers that you need to use your dies. One is a mat for thickness of sorts, and then the other 2 is the sandwich. I like to cut on one piece of the sandwich, and then once I've gotten it so used, so to speak, then I switch places with the other, just to kind of make them go a little bit further. All right, so we're going to put these 2 down. This is the bottom of our bread, and then we need the meat. We're going to set that right down, and then we have the top. Now, let me tell you about the dies we're using. So this is a little bit of a tricky cut, and if you're not confident that you can keep the dies from shifting while you're cutting, you're going to want to use washi tape. So if you can see, these are the Countryside Corners dies. There is the largest die there. This is the second largest. So I'm using the second largest, and then the one next to it, which would be the third largest, and the one next to that, which would be the fourth. So from the largest, I'm taking the next 3. We're going to need all 3 of them. But on the Designer Series paper, we're going to take that middle one out. We'll put it aside for now. And then the largest and the smallest we'll need. So let's scooch this a little closer so you can see what I'm doing for a moment. So I'm going to position these right on my Designer Series paper, and I need them to be evenly spaced. If you can see what that looks like. Let's see, I'll bring it a little closer. Can you see that? This is what you want. I rarely use washi tape when I'm cutting, but really the dies can shift when you're cutting. So if you have washi tape, you might want to use washi tape. And if you're confident, like me, you can go ahead. You don't have to. All right, so let's bring this back, and I'm going to run both of these through the die cutter. I'm just going to kind of smash my sandwich down and pray for the best. And we'll wind it right through. There we go. Let's see what we have, you guys. Oh, hey, you know what? This looks like an O. So we need this piece. And also what we have remaining is that center piece from the smaller. So the larger scrap we can toss. So we'll put these 2 pieces aside. This is what we ended up with. Uh-oh. There we go. So we're going to use these 2. We'll put these aside. And then we're going to bring in that gorgeous grape. as we need to cut that as well. So back in with our plates, we have our bottom bread, the meat of our sandwich. We're going to take that middle die now. So remember, we cut the smaller and the larger. We're going to take that middle die. This is our cheese on top of the meat. And we'll run this right through. See if I can catch it good. There we go. Or at least I think. Maybe I have too much space here. Let's try it again. There we go. And then that's the most difficult part of what we're doing. So we're looking good. Good morning, Nympha. Good morning, Kate. Good morning, Beth. I see you now. For some reason, you just popped up. I don't know. Facebook has me kind of leery. I've been afraid because I don't always see people. So I'm trying to watch you on 2 different devices now so that I can chat with you, because I love chatting with you. Good morning. How are you guys? Marie, good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm excited that you're here. Hope you're feeling crafty today. I am. I have class today, so I'm going to get lots of crafting in. I'm excited about that. All right, so let's go ahead and put this aside for now. And let's bring in all of the little components now. We'll do a little bit of assembling. And I don't know, I'm losing everything. I don't know, you guys. I cleaned my desk off, but I have been crafting in 2 or 3 different places. So you see what I'm doing, because I can't put my hand on my bone folder, but I think it's packed away. I use my scissors. Hey, you get by how you can get by. All right, so let's do a little bit of layering. So we have that gorgeous grape that is 5 1/4 by 4. So that's gonna go right on our card base. And then we're gonna follow it up by the 3 3/4 by 5 piece of designer series paper. So this is kind of how it's going to layer. And then we're going to add this little banner. Let's see, we need Stampin' Dimensionals too. And then we have our pieces for our sentiment. We'll do a little bit of stamping on. And then we have our focal piece. And I'll show you how we're going to put that together in a minute. I have Stampin' Seal Plus, which is my adhesive of choice. You can use your favorite adhesive. And then I have Pretty Peacock and Black Memento. So I'm not sure which way we'll go with that, but let's find some Stampin' Dimensionals. And let's see, I might have to grab a new pack. I have mini ones here, more minis. And let's see, am I lucky? Oh dear, I have tons of minis. All right, let's just grab a new pack. My Stampin' Dimensionals are probably packed away as well. Oh, I thought I had some nearby and I don't. Okay, I'll grab them in a minute. Let's see. We have plenty here. I just don't want to use the mini ones. There we go. Boy, that made me sweat. Stampin' Dimensionals are very important. Very important. Okay, so we'll put these layers together first. Oh, that's almost too gorgeous to cover up, isn't it? I love this paper. So, like I said, it is in the online store. I think it is from the annual catalog, the 2024-2025 catalog, which is going away pretty soon. And we have a new catalog coming at the start of May with all sorts of new goodness in it. But for now, this designer series paper is there, and it's gorgeous. It's my favorite. Favorite. Okay, we're going to glue this right down to the front of our card. And next, well, let's see, kind of eyeballing it to get an even, or what appears to be an even border around all of the sides. There, I think that looks pretty good. All right, and then we're going to take the 1 by 3 3/4 inch designer series paper mat. I'm using just the muted purple. Oh, you know what? I have to pick this up. I brought in ribbon today. Let's see if I can kind of scooch this off. I want to tie some ribbon on, and we need to get the ribbon between the layers, so I jumped the gun a little bit. Did you see what I did? I took just a little metal spatula and lifted this right off. So I have, this is Summer Splash. Let's see. I was indecisive about the ribbon that I wanted to use. This is Summer Splash. Do you guys think this goes pretty good? I have Summer Splash, and then this is the metallic Pretty Peacock. What do you guys think? Which one looks best? I also brought in, this is the gingham. Let's see, they call it Black and Berry Vanilla. I think this will give it like a country look. Kind of like it. Let's go with, the Summer Splash. I'm going to live on the edge a little bit. All right, so you guys, I haven't used ribbon in a long time. Have you seen ribbon in a long time? I feel like it's been forever since I've used ribbon. I have short enough nails now that it should not be an issue. Let's see, you guys are going to have to keep your bow tying fingers crossed for me. I tie good bows when my fingers are in the right state. All right, so I'm just gonna put the ribbon right along that designer series paper mat that we made, and I'm gonna tie a bow. It will be to the right side of the card front when we put this down. So I want it to the extreme right. And let's see if I can tie it without a lot of fuss. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so we have it tied. Oh, shoot, I forgot that I had that adhesive on the back of there. Jumping the gun. There we go. It's not too bad. It's not the exact best, but it's not the worst. Hey, you know, I have a trick also. One of these days when we use ribbon again, I have a really good cheat for those of you that are a little challenged. And I'll try and make it a point to remember to show you. We're a little bit late for it today, but all right. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit more adhesive to the back. Oh, we have it twisted. That's too bad. It'll have to stay twisted for now. I don't necessarily want it twisted because it'll add a little bit of bulk when you mail it, but I'll just tack it down. There we go. Okay, so back to the front of our card. I'm just going to leave an even border as much as I can. There we go. Now, phew, I'm sweating. I almost forgot about the ribbon. That's way important. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we'll put this aside for now, and we're going to work on that focal point. And you might recognize this. We called it a long time ago double or triple time stamping, because you would do the same technique that we're doing here, but you would stamp all over your cardstock and create your own designer series paper, so to speak, and then you'd cut it out and pop it up, which we're gonna do. And we're gonna pop up these 2 layers. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive to the back of that smaller die cut that we had. And I do want to make sure, because there's definitely a direction with the flowers because they're growing upward. So I'm just kind of making sure that I position that right. And we'll mat the designer series paper right down to the gorgeous grape. And then let's bring in our card base. It's going to overlap just a little bit here. Hopefully my bow is not too much in the way. I said extreme right. Did I do extreme right? I can't be so sure. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is add some adhesive to the larger piece. And I do have to make sure we fit it under that bow. So I might not have put my bow as far to the right edge as I should have. So I may need to maneuver it just a little bit. But we're going to glue this down by adding a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus. And then I'm just going to tug on that bow a little bit more. I think it's not as far right as I need it to be. And then also, it's still a little loose. Can you see how my bow is a little loose? So my cheat for that is, and I can use the Stampin' Seal Plus, or you can use a glue dot. I'm just going to put a little bit of a Seal Plus here and then pull it and press it right down to the Seal Plus, and that will hold it in place. It's because I stretched it so much to make sure that it went where I wanted it to be. And then we're just going to pop this right down. Let's see, I'm going to put it just a tad bit lower. So I want it in the center. And this is actually turning out to be a little left center, but that's okay. I am perfectly okay with that. And then the next thing we're going to do is add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of this piece, and we'll pop it right down. So I'm going to be a little bit generous with the Stampin' Dimensionals. I think I'll put them on the corners. Are these still corners? I don't know. I don't know what the shape is. Does it still constitute, for you math people out there, does it still constitute, or is it still considered an octagon? Because there are 6 sides. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, there are 8 sides. No, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, yeah, octagon. You can tell what my best subject was not. I did not like math. I didn't. All right, so we're just making sure that we're putting the flowers in the right orientation, and we're going to pop this right down. We're going to cover that opening that we made. Oh, pretty, 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 pretty. I'm glad I went with the Summer Splash. I think it's a nice contrast. What do you guys think? Okay, can you see that? All right, the last thing we need to do is give it a sentiment. So I am using the penciled pear because I want to nab that It's Your Day. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want a birthday card. And It's Your Day is a good sentiment for a birthday card. So let's go ahead and pop this down. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Pretty Peacock in terms of ink. Yeah, well, let's use the Pretty Peacock. You guys, does this card need any embellishing? I don't know. My initial thought was that the flowers are pretty busy. And so I didn't bring out an embellishment, but maybe. All right, so we're gonna stick this down to the front, right in the center. So let's grab some scissors and cut it down. Now I could do a banner. We could do a banner, or we could flag, or here, let's do my favorite, is to cut it at an angle. Let's do that. Cut it at an angle, then I'll turn it around and cut it at the same angle, or at least what seems to give the illusion of the same angle. And then I am going to take a Stampin' Dimensional and pop that right up. I still don't know that we need additional embellishments because we have a couple of layers of Stampin' Dimensionals here. So we're just going to take these and pop them down right on the bottom in the center. And there we go. So we could put a sentiment on the inside. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab some Gorgeous Grape. You see this flower here? Let's put that on the inside. Let's put it on the inside. We could use the Pretty Peacock and get away with it. Let's see. Let's grab Gorgeous Grape. And let's go ahead and mount that flower up. I'll pop it right down. Now these stamps, if you're new to stamping, they are, we call them cling. They're red rubber stamps. I am still of the mindset that the red rubber makes the greatest stamped impression. There's some cushion there. So when you're stamping with photopolymer stamps, the clear ones that you can see through the block with, you get sometimes the best impression when you add a little bit of cushion, but these already have cushion. That's what I mean by that. Let's put our scissors away. And then I'm going to open this up. We're going to stamp that flower down using Gorgeous Grape. We'll bring that Gorgeous Grape to the inside of our card. You guys, did you decide whether or not we needed an embellishment? Oh, Marie, you are so right. I am going with you. You are a girl after my own heart. I don't know. So there are embellishments that coordinate with this. Oh, that's a sweet little flower, huh? Here we go. And let's go ahead and look in our embellishment pack. I'm going to do away with these because they're distracting. They're distracting. I'm going to throw them right in the trash. I can't have them in my desk, on my desktop. All right. Let's bring in some embellishments and see. Now, if I find the embellishments that initially coordinated with this designer series paper, I can't be 100% sure that they're still available, but let's check it out. I think I showed you guys how very busy my embellishment box is. You see this madness? There is everything under the sun in here. And I actually do try to go through and, ooh, you guys know these are my favorite. You know why? You see that iridescence? They go with anything. Anything that you pop them on. Maybe those jumped out at me for a minute, or for a reason, for a purpose. So I was going to say that I do try and go through this box. So I have two such boxes of embellishments. One has mostly retired embellishments, and then I try to keep all of the current ones that are in the current catalog in this box. And sometimes I slack. I'll just say that. Sometimes I slack. Oh, look at, we have the Glossy Dots assortment. There are definitely some Gorgeous Grape in there. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so depends on how fancy we want to be. I think this is fancy, fancy, and I think this is a little more subdued. Let's scooch that out of the way for a minute. Boy, I am indecisive this morning. These really call me. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so I am going to take my same little spatula and let's grab, oh, that's not working the greatest. Let's grab this. I'm going to slide it right off. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. Let's put one here on the bottom. Yeah, I think this is a good choice. I think the flowers make, uh-oh, boy, that went flying, didn't it? See if we can salvage it. You guys, I'm handicapped without my Take Your Pick tool, and I still have done nothing about it. Oh, I think we kind of ruined that one. Oh my gosh, and it pops again. Okay. I was going to go over here, but I think I'm going to go on that top corner. All right, I'm going to hold it down so it doesn't fly away. And I lost the adhesive to it. Maybe this is not the greatest way to do this, but it's the way I have in this moment. All right. Okay. Here we are, guys. Do you guys remember the double time and triple time stamping? If you're looking for inspiration to do this technique, if you are a Pinterest person or YouTube, you can put in double time or triple time stamping and you'll come up with this. So it has that extra dimension. I think it's beautiful. And I love the designer series paper. I am really enamored with the with the embellishment. I don't know. I'm sure it doesn't come over the camera like it does to me, but it does pick the color right up, and it looks exactly like it was made for this. You know what else it looks like? Sometimes you can get gift wrapping tissue that goes inside of a gift bag, and it's like mylar or something and iridescent. It's like white iridescent. That's what that reminds me of, but very beautiful. All right, here's what I had to share with you guys. Let's go ahead and talk about what we use today. Not a lot of product. The designer series paper is the star of the show. And so we used the perennial lavender. Let's put that back up again so you can see it. It is still current. It is, I believe, it's definitely in the online store, and I believe that it is in the annual catalog. See, I'll put it this way and flip through really quick. You guys, can you believe that I didn't use that gingham that's in there? I love this paper, but this is, if you haven't seen it before, this is what it looks like. It's absolutely gorgeous. There are some butterflies that go along with it too that are die cuts. They're already die cut for you, so that's fun. And then we used the Countryside Corners dies. You can do this with any shape dies. Well, I won't say any shape, but you wouldn't have to use this shape. If you have rectangle dies, you could totally use those. You could even use circle dies, guys. That would work as well. And then I nabbed that little sentiment from the Penciled Pear. It's the It's Your Day, because I plan to make this a birthday card. And then in terms of ink, we used both Gorgeous Grape and Pretty Peacock. Oh, this makes me want to squeal with delight. I promise you. And that's genuine. I love these colors together. And then here's our little peekaboo flower. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out in my craft room with me today, for letting me into your life. And giving me your time. I never take it for granted. I'm so thankful that you're here. So I will be back with you next week. On Saturday, we'll create something fun and special at that time too. I hope you have a fantastic weekend with lots of creativity in it. I will see you next week. Some of you, I will see you at class this morning. Thank you so much for being here. See you soon. Bye-bye.